Hello grade 10s. For the next few lessons we are going to be working on conversions. Now conversions form an important part in many of the sections in MathLit. This lesson will focus on conversions within the metric system. Now in South Africa we use a measuring system called the metric system, and this system works in multiples of tens. Let's have a look at some of the common units that we're going to be using. Okay, so here we have them. Now the top four that we've got here are of course the ones that we use for length. So we've got the kilometer, the meter, centimeter and millimeter. The next three on our list here are those that we use for mass, or as we like to call it, weight. Now those are kilograms, grams and milligrams. And then the last three on this list of ours are those that we use for volume. And they are of course your kiloliter, your litre and the milliliter. Now you're expected to know the conversions within the metric system, and they will not be given to you in your exam. Now one way of learning the metric system conversions is to use a rhyme that is easy to remember. Now let me show you how the rhymes work. Now this table shows all the units that we have got in our metric system. Now you'll see the ones that we use are the ones in the top row, so our kilometers, kilograms, kiloliters. Within here's our meters, our grams and our liters. And then here's centimeters we use, and then we use the bottom three, millimeters, milligrams and milliliters. Now the others are also units of measurement, and they're also going up in tens. These ones all say hectare, so it's hectometer, hectokilogram, hectoliter. These ones are deca, and these little d's are deci, and these two here, the same as this centi, these are also centi. However, we're only going to be concentrating on the ones that I've got the green dots on here. Now the rhyme that we're going to use goes as follows. For the K in the top row, we use, for the top row, we're going to use the K, and the rhyme goes like this. King, the H is H for Henry, and this capital D is died. Then we're going to have a different word for these. Now do the one for length first. So this is, we basically say A, miserable. The little d we say death. The C in this one we say called. And then the bottom one we say measles. So if we have a look at the whole rhyme, it goes like this. King Henry died a miserable death called measles. So now if you go and take the first letters that we've got in all of these, or the only letter, then they correspond to the first letter of all these words. Now for mass and for volume, instead of saying miserable, for this one over here we're going to say a gross death, and for this one we're going to say a lousy death. Okay, so King Henry died a gross death called measles, or King Henry died a lousy death called measles. So it's quite an easy rhyme for you to remember exactly what your conversions are. Now we have to work out how to use this table to convert from one to the other. So let me show you how the multiples of 10 work. Now when you convert from the top down, the units are getting smaller, and for each unit down you have to multiply by 10. So when we are coming down, these ones are smaller than those ones, so when we come down we multiply by 10. Whereas on this side, if you are going up, the units are getting bigger, so going up we have to divide by 10. And what you do is you divide by 10 or multiply by 10 for each jump that you've got. So for example, if we go from kilometers down to meters, you're going to go 1, 2, 3 jumps down, which means you have got to multiply by 3 tens, in other words by 1,000. The same way, if you want to go from centimeters up to meters, we are going up. Okay, so when we go up, we have to divide. Because it's 2 jumps, we're going to divide by 10 times 10 or by 100. Okay, now let's have a look at some examples. Okay, so the first example, what we're going to do, we're going to convert 203 millimeters. 203 meters. And the first thing we're going to convert it into is into millimeters. Okay, so let's have a look at our table. We want to go from meters to millimeters. So from meters to millimeters, if we count how many we are going down, you're going 1, 2, 3 down. In other words, and they're getting smaller, so we have to multiply by 10 3 times, in other words, by 1,000. So we're going to say 203 multiplied by 1,000 gives you 203,000. And you remember to always write your units, and your units here are going to be millimeters. Next, let's convert the same one, but this time let's convert it into centimeters. Okay, so now we've got to go from meters to centimeters. So let's go back and look at our table. So from meters to centimeters, we're going this direction. So we're going 1, 2 like here. We're going down, so we're going to multiply by 10 times 10, which is 100. So we're going to go 203, and this time we're only multiplying by 100, and that gives you 20,300 centimeters. Now let's take our same 203 meters and let's convert it into kilometers. So now we're going to convert it to kilometers. Okay, so meters to kilometers, back to our table. Okay, meters to kilometers. So we're going from here and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. This time we are going up, and when we go up, we have to divide. So we've got 3 jumps here, so we're going to divide by 10 times 10 times 10. In other words, we're going to divide by 1,000. So 203 divide by 1,000. Remember, you can do it on your calculator. However, if you divide by 1,000, you've got to move your decimal places 3. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3. So it's got to be in front of this 2. So it's going to be 0,203 kilometers. Okay, let's have a look at some involving volume now. This time what we're going to do is we are going to convert 16 liters. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to convert that into kiloliters. Okay, so let's have a look at our table to see how many jumps we've got to do. We're going from liters to kiloliters. So in other words, we're going from this one over here, liters, up to kiloliters. And remember, when we go up, we have to divide by 10 for each jump. Coming down, we multiply by 10. Okay, so we've got to divide our answer that we've got by a 1,000. Okay, so we're going to take 16 and we're going to divide that by 1,000. So we've got to move our decimal place 3 positions. So it's going to be 0,016 kiloliters. If they ask you to round this off to 2 decimal places, you would say that this is going to be approximately 0,02 kiloliters. Remember, if the third digit is 5 or more, then we have to increase the 1 just before that. Now let's take our same 16 liters and let's convert it into milliliters. So let's have a look. We've got to go from liters to milliliters. From liters to milli. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So we are going down 3 steps. So we have to this time multiply by 1000. Remember, it's multiplying by 10 3 times. Okay, so we've got to multiply by 1000. So we're going to go 16 times 1000. And that, of course, gives you 16,000 milliliters. Please remember to always include your units. Now let's do some mass questions. So what we're going to do here is we're going to convert 3,1 kilograms. And the first thing we're going to convert it into is into grams. So let's have a look how many grams in a kilogram. Grams to kilograms. From here, 1, 2, 3. So again, we're going up, so we have to divide by 1000. So it's going to be 3,1 divided by 1000. So we have to move our decimal place 3 positions again. So it's going to be 0,0031 grams. Sorry, I've just made a mistake there. I've got to redo that part. Damn, I was right. So we've got to take our 3,1 and we have to divide that by 1000 and move our decimal places 3 positions. So we're going to get 2 zeros in front of the 3. So it's going to be so many grams. Remember, a gram I was wrong, and I'm still wrong. Sorry, Julian. Okay, I'm going to just say the words. If you can just fix it at the top over here. So now we're going to convert 3,1 kilograms to grams. So if we come up here, we're going to go from kilograms to grams. So we've got to go 3 jumps, but we are going downwards. So it's from our kilograms coming down to our grams. Kilograms to grams. We're going down, which means we have to multiply by 3 lots of 10. In other words, multiply by 1000. So we're going to go 3,1 times by 1000, and that gives you 3100. Got to move it by 3 decimal places, so it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 3,100 grams. And now let's convert the same kilograms, but this time let's convert it to milligrams. Okay, so now from kilograms to milligrams, we've got to go from the top and we've got to go all the way down to milligrams. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means we have to multiply by 10 6 times, which gives us 1 million. So that's going to be quite a lot. So 3,1, we've got to multiply it by a million, which has got 6 zeros. So this one we have to move the decimal by 6 zeros, and we're going to get 3,100,000 milligrams. Remember, if it's at the bottom of the table, it's a small unit, so it's going to have many more than the top. So you've got to move your decimal place 6 positions. So from here, we've got 3 to there, and then we had to add another 3 zeros on as well. Okay, now it's your turn to try a couple. Now the first thing that I'd like you to do for homework is actually try and reproduce that diagram that you've got to have with your rhyme going all the way down. Then when you have done that, then you need to do the following conversions. So the first one you're going to do, Ben is 1,65 meters tall. Convert this height into centimeters. Then secondly, Thandi put 51,2 liters of petrol into her car. How many milliliters would that be? Remember in Mathslit, they always put everything into context, so they always put a story around a question. Right, next question. Susan buys a whole lamb that is on special offer, and the lamb weighs 21,6 kilograms. Convert this quantity to grams. Okay, and then one last question. This is our fourth one we're going to do now. Emil is making hamburgers for raising funds at school. The patties must weigh approximately 90 grams before cooking. Okay, so each patty must weigh 90 grams. He plans on making 150 hamburgers. So obviously he's going to need 150 patties as well. How many kilograms of mince must he buy? So how many kilograms? How many kilograms of mince must he buy? Okay, now I will put the table up for you again, just so that you can have a look in case you couldn't get it correct. So let me give that to you again. Okay, there's your table if you didn't manage to draw it. So let's have a look at the answers. So for the first one over here, you've got to go from meters to centimeters, so you've got to multiply that by 100. If you look on your table, it would have been 2 jumps. So that gives you 165 centimeters tall. And then Thandi put 51,2 liters of petrol in her car. How many milliliters is that? It's 3 jumps, so here you're going to go 51,2 and you would multiply by 1,000 because you're going down on your table, and that gives you 51,200 milliliters. And then the lamb that Susan bought, from kilograms to grams, it's also 3, and we're also going down, so there we also have to multiply by 1,000, and that gives you 21,600 grams. Then the last question was slightly more complicated. You had to first do another calculation. So the first thing you have to do here is calculate how many grams of mince he needs. So if we take our 90 and we multiply that by 150, you're going to get the amount of grams. And that works out to 13,500 grams. But now remember, they asked the answer, they asked the question, how many kilograms of mince. So from grams to kilograms, we're going up, so we have to divide, and we have to divide by 1,000 because there were 3 jumps. So this gives you 13,5 kilograms. Okay, I hope that lesson all made a lot of sense and that rhyme helps you a lot. Please join me for our next lesson in which we will be doing cooking conversions.